browser, which I don't use.
All right.
Okay, so this is a video by, I want to make sure I give everybody credit, Nate the Lawyer. Woke Disney's Snow White faces lawsuit over lack of diversity. You can't ever win with the left, can you? I guess you can't really win with the far right either. You can't win with the far side of anybody. Care Bear. Okay, thank you. It's Care Bear. Gotcha. Won't mess it up. Another advertiser. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why they come here. Hey, I see huge potential in your stream, and I want to help you grow with Kick's new metrics. In case now is the best time to expand. I have a network of gamers and communities. Do ya? Because nobody fucking watches me on Kick. Nobody. I don't think I have anybody watching me over there. I think that you guys who try to sell me stuff are making up the majority of my subscribers, to be honest with you. I don't even know why I keep streaming over there. Honestly, I'm not IRL streaming. I'm not out there doing like, I'm not out there ruining people's days, but I could. Oh, I could. I'd be really good at ruining people. I could never do that though. That is another person I want to talk about. Vitaly. Vitaly is a total train wreck right now. Yeah, it's the Kickbots. All right. So again, this is Woke Disney Snow White faces. I'm gonna focus. EG. No ADHD tonight. No ADHD tonight. Woke Disney Snow White faces lawsuit over lack of diversity by Nate the Lawyer. I'm assuming this has to do with the Peter Dinklage stuff, which I hope he gets into. But this is from Blue Jay. Thank you, Blue Jay, for your submission. Let's take a look.
And off to court we go. Disney faces discrimination lawsuit over Snow White snub of Little People actors. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
All right, so I watched the new Snow White with my daughter, and I'm going to say it. The movie wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I understand why people didn't like it. Now,
all right, well, let's first just say, all right, this movie, people went into this movie with like the lowest expectations possible. Like, you could not have a more like lower expectations for this movie than what this movie already had. So, you know, I guess going in there thinking it's going to be a total train wreck is just part of the equation. Ooh, this is a good one. Thank you, Rajir.
If you're watching this video, understand at the time I'm speaking to you now, Snow White has bombed at the box office.
Who could have saw that coming?
Mirror on the wall. How badly did Disney's new Snow White flop after all? The live-action remake pulled in just a measly $45 million this weekend, putting it on track to be one of the Disney's sleepiest opening weekends yet. Controversy around the film began ever since we learned that there would be no Prince Charming because apparently he kissed her without consent, and also no woman needs a man to rescue her. The movie also used CGI for the Seven Dwarfs rather than actors because they thought using real people would be offensive.
A few weeks ago, expectations for the film were significantly higher, and the 23-year-old star of the film has made some comments that didn't go over well. Can you imagine a multi-billion-dollar company and all the shareholders being held hostage by the comments of a 23-year-old actress?
All right, so in this video, we are going to talk about how the dwarf community is suing.
Yeah, I like Mr. T's verbiage there. Basement expectations. I like that. Basement expectations. That's exactly what you would probably go into this movie having. Like, even if this movie was like slightly good, most people are probably going to give it more props than it actually deserves. If I went to see this movie, it would be to buy popcorn and go home. Yeah, like go get some cheese pretzels or some nachos and stuff, right? And then just dip. And then just dip out.
We're going to be talking about why the movie failed and just my personal review of the movie. So for those of you who don't know, Disney cast Rachel Zegler as Snow White. Now, Zegler doesn't seem like a Hispanic name, but Rachel Zegler happens to be 50% Hispanic. Now, this was all part of Disney's strategy of making the classic characters more diverse. Remember, they did the same thing to The Little Mermaid. It was a white character, but then they race swapped it to make it a black character. And then they
Listen, I don't care. I don't care that they take if they race swap a lot of people. It doesn't really bother me that much. But listen, all right, I don't want to hear ever again that white people aren't cultured, okay? I just don't want to hear it. You want to know why? Because I think I can come in a little closer here. Let's get a little closer. There we go. everybody always says like white people don't have culture. They steal everybody's culture. Well, look who's stealing culture now. All right. You're taking our Captain America. You took our Little Mermaid. You took our Snow White. This is white people culture. Okay. It doesn't really bother me too much. Because first off, let's be honest. Mermaids are not real. All right. They could be black. They might. You never know. Right. But if you have like a huge problem with it, you probably need to do some inner reflection. But I can understand why people are getting annoyed, because you got to hear we have to hear every day that white people don't have no culture. All we do is steal stuff from everyone else, rap music, everything like that, and then they come and race swap everything. I don't care when they swap race, but I hate hearing the cast of the new film diss the original. Kangaloo, yes, and I think that this is exactly where all the issues came from. The whole reason people would even want to go see this is to recapture their childhood of watching the original again, right? It's the whole reason that they're doing all these Lion King movies, so that 90s kids that are like my age remember what it was like when they went and saw the Lion King for the first time and get a chance to go see it and experience it in a whole new way. Which, by the way, I gotta say, for all the mess ups that Disney is doing right now, what they did with those live action Lion King movies is incredible. To take an animal and make it look like it's really speaking and talking and moving around, like that is wild to me, that is something that can be done, you know? Working and Lurking still wanted to say, hey, what's up, Tiny Cat 911? It said 911's in her name because it's emergency. Everybody knows how awesome she is. It's an emergency. Janie agrees with Kangaloo and says exactly, you don't need to put down the originals. And that's what people don't like. Don't shit on our nostalgia, because then you're going to piss everybody off.
They did this whole "she looks like me" campaign to get black people to go watch the movie.
I'm sorry, this feels so fake. It feels so, hey, honey, come sit down. I want to show you the Little Mermaid. No. This one, I want you to say that she looks like you. I think that'll be really exciting. It'll make a big impact, right? Now, don't get me wrong. All right, the brothers and the sisters haven't really necessarily been represented in, well, the Princess and the Frog was a black princess. So I don't know. Maybe they have been represented, but I guess they want more representation. Now, here's the problem, right? If you're going to do more representation, that's fine. But don't take old characters and then just turn them black. That's lazy, okay? That's absolutely the laziest you could possibly get. But with that said, I'm not going to lie and say that, the majority of the old school Disney princesses were typically white, but they were written by a white guy or white people, so they were writing their own feelings, right? And most of the time, people back then probably wouldn't want to speak on behalf of the culture or of another culture. So I can understand why. Princess and the Frog spent most of the film as a frog, which some people had issues with. I don't think I've ever seen The Princess and the Frog, but yes, that would probably be a bummer. I thought the Princess and the Frog was the frog was a prince, but the princess turns him into a prince, right? When she kisses him or something like that. First off, though, what's going through your head where you kiss a frog? You know what I'm saying? It's a little weird. But yeah, I don't really care. I mean, The Little Mermaid sucked, from what I understand. At least they made her fall in love with a white dude, right? That's the kind of although that might have just pissed off all the brothers instead. But yeah, I don't care. But just take for instance, turning Black Panther into a white man. That would probably piss a lot of people off. So I'm just saying. You need to watch it. It's really cute. Maybe I'll watch it with my daughter, because I don't think we've ever sat down and watched that. But that would probably be fun. I like toads for the buzz. I wouldn't want kissing one. You licking frogs and getting high, tripping balls on the frogs. Don't kiss it. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, either the poisonous ones or the ones that get you all messed up, right? Oh, by the way, it worked today. Sorry, this is an ADHD moment. We can cut this out, Roger. This is just for the people that are here. this kid comes driving down this road and just plows into this friggin' tree. Like, I don't know. Like, and then he got arrested for DUI, like right outside of my shop that I work at. And I was just like, it just reminded me of where I was that kid before. And I wanted to almost go out and like try to encourage him not to give up, because I know that the next year of his life is going to absolutely suck, you know, because he pretty much just got like, it's not worth getting DUIs, people. I don't think people realize just how much they mess your whole life up. But I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that was an interesting thing that happened at my job today.
He's like me.
So now The Little Mermaid
looked
didn't
like
do
me.
great at the box office, but it did well enough. With Disney's
Seems
like,
so
hey, we
fake.
can double down on this and make
just seems
Snow
fake.
White Latina. Now, obviously, there were a couple of issues with that because Snow White, her skin's supposed to be as white as snow. And in the movie, again, spoilers, they decided to say, well, it's not because her skin is white as snow, as they call her Snow White. They're going to call her Snow White because she happened to be born during a snowstorm. Now, that wasn't the only change that they were making.
It's so stupid, dude. It's just so stupid. What's up, phallic weapon? Phallic weapon. Oh, that's a funny name. I'm just thinking of like a somebody using like a adult toy as a weapon. We're just talking about Snow White again and the crazy ridiculousness behind this whole entire thing.
Into the story, as Rachel Zegler is going to explain to us, there were a lot of fundamental changes to the Snow White story to make it more for modern audiences.
It's Snow White herself. Hello. I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937.
Evidently so. We can almost quote her at this point
There's a
with
big
these
focus on her
interviews.
love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
So no Prince or a different kind of Prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume
still
is a
trying to
love
figure
story
out what I
just
like
because
in
like
this
we
setup
cast
and
a
what I
guy
don't.
in the movie,
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
So
It's,
great, I want him cut.
it's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really
Yeah, I
wonderful.
hate
And
her
whether or not
dress.
she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But it's
Yeah.
one of those
That's
things.
so true,
It's an
yeah.
inner journey that she goes on to find her true self.
I cannot stand this girl. I really cannot. What's up, the bluest of Jays? How are you? I can't stand this girl, right? She just says how much, like, she likes, like, well, she didn't say how much she likes this guy. She just said good dude. But you say he's a good dude, and then you immediately go, I hope all his scenes get cut. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, she is so incredibly unlikable. Yeah, she annoys me a bit. You're lucky then, Mr. T, because she annoys everybody else a ton. Like, she is, like, over the top, annoying as fuck.
And she meets a lot of people along the way that make the journey really incredible.
Now, obviously, this made people a little concerned because Snow White is a love story.
Pretty much,
It's a story about how Snow White goes through all these trials and tribulations. Prince Charming goes through his little trials and tribulations, saves Snow White, and they live, quote, happily ever after. And
Yeah, it's supposed to be like two people overcoming these adversities that they both learn from, which ends up making them to be better people. Hey, Flane. Good to see you. And then you see like these people become, they go through these hardships, right? And like a lot of people in life go through these things. Like I've gone through hardships and I think I came out the other side a better person. However, you know, Snow White, on the other hand, is just like, you know what? I don't need no man. I don't need no man to be happy. But a lot of people want that in their life. A lot of people want to find love. A lot of people want to realize that all the hardships that they went through are going to mean something in the end, like a family, happiness, a happy ending. Everybody wants their happy ending, right? Not to be a leader. How many of us are going to become dictators? You know, it's essentially what they changed the story to. Yes, I'm watching your video, Blue Jay.
And Rachel Zegler made it very clear that's not the story they're telling. They're telling a very different story, and Prince Charming may not be involved in it at all. Now, next, a big part of the movie are the 7 dwarfs. Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. But there was a
Now we get
problem
into the good stuff.
with the dwarfs. So Disney's original plan was to hire 7 little people to play dwarfs.
Which would have made those little actors a fortune. Probably set them up for life. But no! Old Peter Dinklage wants to be the only midget in the yard. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to call them midgets, but like I've grown up calling them that. I don't know how I can just change that. I know I'm supposed to call them little people, okay? He wants to be the biggest little person in the yard.
But Peter Dinklage said,
What's up, Eastside
"Hold on,
Eddie?"
That is bigotry.
I was a little taken back by
Naive Blanco.
they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow
Still
White.
Snow White, yeah.
7 dwarfs.
Sure.
Take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the fuck are you doing, man?
I'm sorry, Peter Dinklage. Most of us weren't born as a little person. Like, what is this? Like, little people rights? Like, I don't know what he was. I think this was basically him being like, I'm gonna die acting. I'm set for life as an actor, but I don't want anybody coming and taking my place. So I think the best way to do this is to make sure they don't hire little people for little people roles. By the way, the little people community freaking hated this take. They hated this dude's take because he's basically just pulling up the ladder behind him. Happens all the time. iDubbbz, Ethan Klein. You're not allowed to do, even though I made my career on, material that was edgy. If you do it, you're bad. They also didn't live in a cave. They had a nice cottage and mining business. Yeah, exactly, Fellaine. I don't know where this whole cave thing came from. They had like a cottage and a very functional living situation.
And have I done nothing to advance the cause? From my soapbox, I guess I'm not loud enough. I don't know what studio that is, but they were so proud of that.
You didn't even know who made Snow White.
To the actress and to the people who thought they were doing the right thing, but I'm just like, you don't. What are you doing?
Now, Peter Dinklage is
fucking what a douche. He was great. I mean, he's a good actor, but what a douche thing to do. That'd be like me being like, you know what, man? I'm walking away from commentary, and anybody who talks about it is really, really pathetic. Why? I made you made your reputation on it. You can't turn around and then shame everybody else for it. I'm sorry. You lose that right the minute you build your career on it. According to Google, there are 30,000 of them in the whole USA. Wow, that's an impressive number. I would have thought it would have been higher, honestly. But I think what qualifies as like a little person is a specific height. I know I dated a girl who was almost considered a little person, but she was like proportionate. It was like, but she was very close to that line, which is funny because I'm like 6 foot and I towered over her. But I think she liked that.
probably one of the best known dwarf actors of our time. And Disney said because Peter Dinklage.
Personally, I think calling them dwarfs is more insulting than calling them a midget. I'm sorry. That might just be me, but I think calling him a dwarf, like a mystical creature, is a little more insulting than calling him a midget. That's my take, though, you know.
King of the Dwarfs, spokesman for all dwarf kind. He says he doesn't want dwarfs in this movie. There will be no dwarfs.
Following Peter's remarks, a spokesperson for Disney told ET in a statement, quote, to avoid reinforcing stereotypes.
You want to say hi to everybody real quick?
Yes, I would love to. Hello, everybody. It is me here again, once again, to crash them live and make it all better.
Speaking of little persons,
I'm the tiniest person in the world.
you're like taller than half of your school. Get out of here.
Taller than my whole class.
All right, thank you. Go take a shower. Go get ready for bed. Do you have homework?
Yes.
All right, do that too.
I did 1 page on my
All right, well, you need to get your homework done. Take a shower and then do your homework, okay? And close the door behind you. Thank you. A temporary setback. Being on camera now. Remember the first time I let her close out the stream? She was very nervous. Now she can't wait to get on here.
Yes, I am the best.
And we're not talking about anything crazy, so I don't really care. Like, if I was talking about something like very intense, I probably wouldn't let her come on. But we're talking about Snow White.
I'm the best
You're the okay. Get out of here, Rachel Zegler Jr.
I'm the best person.
You're the best person in the world. Okay, Rachel Zegler, get out of here.
Best person.
We're both wearing Nirvana shirts, though. What are the odds of that?
Bro, that's crazy.
We're both wearing Nirvana shirts. Funny. The same shirt, just different colors.
Like father, like daughter.
That's right.
Where's
All
the
right.
camera? All right, it's right there.
Let me get back to streaming.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Adios.
She is such a character. Such a character. Dwarfism and midget is two different genetic. Really? Oh man, you're gonna make me look this up. You're gonna make me look this up. All right, hang on. What's the difference between a dwarf and a midget? All right, let's see what AI has to say. Ow! Okay, you're going off for right now. That scared me. That's my own elbow scared me. I can't keep elbowing the piano. I may have to wear my Nirvana onesie to bed. There you go. Get on the Nirvana train. I might do Man Who Bought the World tonight as my song. A midget is someone who are proportionate in size, however, a significantly shorter than an everyday human being. A dwarf maintains the same torso and head size as a human being without dwarfism. However, their arms and legs are shorter. Okay, so then I guess like Vern Troyer, like Mini-Me would be considered a midget, and then Peter Dinklage would be considered a dwarf. Okay, we're learning so much today, guys. We are learning so much about. See, so you can call people midgets. It's a thing. It's a thing that happens to people, okay? So I can.
Stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community.
Hope you're doing well, man.
We look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period.
Now, you got to see the irony of this, people. It's like you got 7 roles for dwarfs, specifically, right? These are 7 dwarfs. There's even a number in front of it. So you know we need 7 dwarfs. But Disney, because it's so woke, won't cast dwarfs to play dwarfs. Matter of fact, anybody else can play the dwarfs except for a dwarf. Insanity.
That's pretty funny.
So Disney recast the 7 dwarfs, and this is what they look like.
The weird part is the dwarves. So you may
Ben Shapiro
realize that
cameo.
Snow White and the 7 Dwarves has dwarves, right? Because like they're dwarves, and that's like.
By the way, I had a there's something that Ben Shapiro is doing right now that I wanted to talk about on stream, and I don't know how. It's a really touchy subject, and I kind of wanted to break it down and give my opinions on it as I hear him out. But essentially, it's about Derek Chauvin, and like they're like the guy who killed oh my God, why can I not remember? George Floyd. I had a brain fart there. And they're trying to say that Derek Chauvin doesn't deserve to be in prison. Now, that's a touchy subject. Touchy. But I thought it would be an interesting thing to talk about one day. But I don't know if we're going to talk about that today.
What they are. And one of the most characteristic things about the dwarves in Snow White and the 7 Dwarves is that they are short because they are dwarves. Well, we have decided that this is very, very insulting. And so the 7 dwarves,
terribly
so it's
bad.
6 racially diverse tall people and 1 person who is a little person, is my understanding. All of this, so one of the dwarves is also a woman. So that's again, makes for a very weird dynamic because as you recall from the original Snow White and the 7 Dwarves, as you recall from the original, they all live in one room together.
So I'm not sure what the deal with the hippies is, though. Like, I haven't seen the movie, but everybody keeps showing these same hippies. I know that these are supposed to be like part of like apparently the prince's crew of bandits or whatever. Ben says dwarves weird to me. Maybe it's just he might he's kosher like that.
So that's definitely weird. This is
So then something shocking happened. Dwarfs, who were not Peter Dinklage, came at him and was like, this is ridiculous. The movie is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The role is made for us. We can get paid to do that role. He is not the king of the dwarfs. He doesn't speak for us all.
I've got to say, I was very curious when I saw what Peter Dinklage came out and said, because I did wonder who appointed him the head of the dwarf actor community. And it turns out nobody did other than him. And the people who, it seems to me, have really suffered in all this are the 6 dwarf actors who would have expected to have roles in this remake in a massive Hollywood blockbuster, who are now not going to have that experience, or the money, or the fame that may have come with that. What is your response to that?
Before he responds, I just want to say, like, this is exactly what Peter Dinklage wanted, though. He doesn't want other dwarf actors. He wants every role that is written for a dwarf to go to him. That's essentially what I would imagine he's going for. Those people are apparently in the movie and bandits. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's like the Prince's Bandit little crew or whatever. Can't believe they stole the dwarves or bandits idea from Mirror Mirror, did they? Oh, my God. Yeah, there's been so many different versions of Snow White. I actually liked Snow White and the Huntsman. The one with, what's her face? The girl that was in Twilight, is it Kristen Stewart? And Chris Hemsworth. I thought that was a pretty good movie. They didn't cast them either. They cast pencil erasers. Yeah, basically. Like CGI people that got voiced over by voiceover actors that were already making a shit ton of money, I bet, and from all their appearances in other movies they did. I thought originally Peter just wanted little people to be, didn't want little people to be typecast into demeaning roles, but it sounds like I was wrong. Now, I think that I think he just doesn't want, he wants Hollywood not to know what to cast little people in. It's socially acceptable, so they just cast him instead. I think that that's what he was going for, and I think he did it perfectly, because think about it. Every role that goes to a male dwarf goes to him, usually. Right? I mean, he was in fucking Elf, where Will Ferrell calls him an elf the whole time. Like, come on, Peter. You're really going to lecture everybody, and you were the one who let Will Ferrell call you an elf? Hey, Gypsy, good to see you. It's not, yeah, apparently these dwarves are horrifying. And I would agree they are.
So it's not a progression at all to me. My issue with it is exactly what you said. There are actors, dwarf actors, that that dream to be in a major motion picture such as this Disney remake. And now, because Peter Dinklage said what he said last year, now it's taken away. And it's taken away because of quote-unquote progression and all that.
Essentially,
it's not really, it's not right. Because these are roles made for actors of my stature.
So now the dwarf actors are
all
gatekeeping
of the dwarves.
They can't.
Instead of the troll under the bridge, it's the dwarf standing in front of the casting door. You should be ashamed of yourself, dwarves, for wanting these roles. I will take it upon myself to do it for you.
Get these dwarf roles. So Disney said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to just make the dwarfs CGI. There will be no actual dwarf actors.
And cost them so much more money.
Dwarves after all? Wait, what? What is this?
Oh God, Asmongold.
So are there dwarves or not? I don't understand this. Is it happening or not? CGI?
Disney has almost completely rewritten its live-action Snow White film with extensive reshoots. The movie
And why are some of these trolls looking bigger than her? Are they standing on a table or something behind her? That's horrifying.
Has been delayed by a full year. Among the things that ended up on the cutting room floor are the diverse dwarves, replaced now with CGI dwarves that look close to the original cartoon.
You know, this would never happen.
Oh, Hornswoggle from WWE was great.
Of these live-action remakes.
So, just to recap, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they were going to...
He played his role to perfection, too, Hornswoggle.
Cast 7 dwarfs, but then decided not to cast 7 dwarfs because the King of the Dwarfs said, hey, this is a stereotype of dwarfs. So Disney changed and said, we're going to just give you 7 regular people and 1 little person who happens to be a dwarf, but we're not casting him because he is a dwarf. That had outrage because then the dwarf community was like, well, Peter Dinklage doesn't speak for us and we want those roles. So then they decided CGI dwarfs, and now the little people are going to protest and they're going to sue Disney for discrimination.
Good.
And I
hope they do. You know, Disney needs to just do what they've always done. Shamelessly do what they always have done. They need to get back to just telling compelling stories. This is what's crippling their empire right now. They are trying to please people that cannot be pleased. Nothing is right about... No, this is probably... I can't even remember I can't remember a movie that has been so unanimously hated. Other than by like people who seem to glaze it or people who just want to go against the grain, you know? This all dwarfed into oblivion. I see what you did there, Neil. I see what you did there. That's why they call you the Annihilator.
I think their discrimination claims can be summed up best by this clip from the Woke Critic.
Sadly, those members of the dwarfism community have not been cast in the film about dwarfs because they're dwarfs.
So their claim is
so
simple.
Funny.
The only people that aren't allowed to play the dwarfs are actual dwarfs. Just imagine you're doing a movie about
this is like the
black
most Disney thing.
and you say, we can cast anybody to play the roles of all the black people, except if you're actually a black person. Now, will the dwarf community be successful in their lawsuit? I don't know.
I mean, they can blatantly point out discrimination. I mean... I think they got a case, but I mean, I guess it would have to. I mean, first off, who's suing them? Firstly, did they have any? Were they cast at one point and then not cast? You know, personally, I like. See, even Rings of Power are doing the same thing, and so did Lord of the Rings. They took regular people and just kind of dwarfed them down instead of like hiring actual dwarfs. What's up, DSB? Long time no see. I hope you're doing well, brother. It's so weird. This whole thing is just so freaking weird, man. So woke liberal Disney is remaking a movie and in doing so discriminating against... Yes, it's Snow White and the 7 ethical creatures.
It's going to be hard to prove because Disney doesn't owe them anything.
That would be the argument, Mr. T. Bring back blackface. Yeah, I mean, we didn't feel right casting... all these people in the new Black Panther movie as black people because we didn't want to typecast them. So you know what we're going to do?
Hell yeah, this party just keeps getting
Care Bear!
better. The more the merrier.
Care Bear gifted Nancy a membership.
Thank you for the membership gifting. I appreciate that. Much love to you.
Present.
No, just keep that in your room.
It's haunted.
I bought it for you because you liked Sonic at one time. If you love me, you'll keep it. Do you love me?
If you love me, you won't let
Listen,
me die.
I'm going to tell you guys a story real quick, okay? This kid was obsessed with Sonic when she was like 4 to 5, right? And I was working at Target at the time, and I saw this, and I was like, oh my God, she would love that. She's so obsessed with Sonic. And I bought it for her, and she freaking hates it. I've been always sneakingly trying to put it in her room, and she always brings it back and goes, I don't want this in my room.
It's scary.
It is not. It is literally Sonic's head. I mean, it does look like it's a decapitated head.
It's scary.
Is that why you don't like it? Because it looks like a decapitated head?
Listen, this thing is haunted. I put it in our family room, and it randomly ended up under my bed. I'm scared of this thing.
Because I keep putting it back in there.
But it's scary.
But it's because I keep putting it there.
Imagine this. Imagine you're just in your bed.
I didn't even think about that. Like, she hates it, and every time that she goes back in her room, it's there. I'm sure.
No, just imagine this. You're in your room. It's like pitch black, because I like the dark. And then you randomly see this staring at you. You just randomly see this staring at you. Tell me that isn't scary.
I don't think so.
That is...
Don't get out of here, Kangaloo. I'm trying to get...
Thank you!
I'm trying... It's very soft, though. It's a great pillow. But she was obsessed with Sonic. And I thought this would be a great gift. And it was the thing was like $40.
It's $40.
Can you please take it? Learn to love it. Learn the unlovable thing.
You'll be the one crying at my funeral when this thing kills me in my sleep.
Sonic is a good hedgehog. He's not gonna hurt you. All right, he's not gonna hurt you.
Tell me that isn't scary.
It's not scary. It's Sonic.
It's just scaring us.
Bet you Chris Chan would love it.
It's scary.
Chris Chan would like it if I sent it to her.
Who's Christian?
You don't want to know.
What?
All right. Get out of here.
It's a tad creepy.
Is it? But she says, but also, she wasn't done. Okay.
It's scary. Listen, no, because I like the dark in my room, and I just randomly see this staring into my soul. I like the dark, but this thing makes me scared.
I think you should keep it for now.
It's scary.
Well, if you love me, it's a gift from your father, and you should treasure it.
But I'm gonna be on the net. I hope you know I'm gonna be on CBS News.
No, you're not. All right, let me get back to doing it.
Teenage girl gets killed by.
Rogier's got to edit all this stuff, and we're making this so hard for her.
Haunted
All right.
thing. Thank you.
Blue Jay, get out of here! You guys are the worst. You're encouraging her.
Thank you so much for siding with me. Tell me this isn't scary.
Well, yeah, when you shove it into the camera like that, it's terrifying looking.
I told you.
I don't. It's soft though, and it's a great pillow.
Rats are also soft, and they're scary.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. All right, I got. Let me get back to this. All right, I gotta cheer for the person who just gave us a membership. Thank you. Did that even go through? I don't.
If you don't follow my dad, you'll see this thing in your nightmares.
They all follow me.
If you don't follow my father, you'll see this thing in your room.
We will send Sonic's head after you.
Yes, we will.
You'll be getting chased by a decapitated Sonic doll.
You will be chased by a decapitated
I will literally.
Sonic.
If I make a little body for him and sew it to him, would that make you feel better?
Yes, it totally would.
Yeah. The way you portray it does look a little scary.
It's terrifying.
Did you take a shower yet?
No.
Did you do your homework yet?
I'm eating food.
Then
I'm a big back.
Go get ready. Go. You gotta take your shower and do your homework, please. You guys are the worst. How can you encourage her like that? I was this close. She was finally gonna keep it, and then y'all had to go open your mouths in the chat. All right. Anyway, thank you again so much, Care Bear, for the membership. Sorry, I got distracted by the little one.
Thing doesn't have to give them jobs, but also California
Hey,
law is
Carla.
very liberal, meaning that discrimination is something they take very seriously there. Now, before we get out of here, I got to give you my last little spoiler alert for Snow White. Now, we've just talked about the dwarfs and what they did. So, eventually, at the end of all this dwarf controversy,
Why does he
they
keep showing the same little black dwarf? I'm just curious. I've never seen that woman in my life.
14 dwarfs. Let me explain. So they had these CGI dwarfs who were doing the CGI dwarf thing. And now you had these 7 actors that you hired to play dwarfs, but they can't play dwarfs anymore because of the outrage.
Okay, Blue Jay. I wasn't aware that the decapitated Sonic head was a decapitated Sonic head. All right? I just thought it was a cute Sonic face that you could have in a room. But yes, now that I think about it, it is kind of disturbing because it is a floating head, basically.
Against the non-dwarf dwarfs. So they kept them in the movie and had them essentially be 7 bandits. And this gets kind of crazy because you got the 7 dwarfs who are CGI. Then you got these 7 bandits, and one of the bandits happens to be a dwarf. So is he like the dwarf bandit hybrid? Who really knows? But it seems like in their quest to please everybody, they pleased absolutely no one. All right, so at the end of the day, let me give you my honest impressions about this movie. I didn't hate it, but I will say this. I understand why nobody's going. Rachel Zegler was the best thing in this movie, but she's also the worst thing about this movie. She keeps saying she can act.
Oh, I love that line. Rachel Zegler is the best thing in this movie, but she is the worst thing about this movie. That is such a great line.
She's a star. I think if you watch the movie, there's no doubt about it. But her big mouth is what crushed this film. And I think Disney has a huge lesson to learn here. All the components that Rachel
Talent
Zegler
doesn't
said
get
were
you
going to be
everything.
removed from the movie. No love story. She's not going to be saved by the prince. That was actually all in the movie. They actually put that in the movie. Matter of fact, the prince, as an example, Zegler said Snow White wasn't going to be saved by the prince.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not gonna be.
I love this shit. We wrote a Snow. You didn't write shit, and if you did, I'm sure they just took everything you wrote out of it. Like I just don't think that Rachel Zegler is gonna come back from this anytime soon. Everybody's always gonna bring up the fact that she's insufferable, literally insufferable. Even if the pendulum swings back left, which right now it's way to the right. I don't know. I just feel like she turns people off. She's a pretty girl, right? Nobody's taking that away from her, but she's not Gal Gadot. All right, Gal Gadot is way more attractive by like leaps and bounds. But that's not to say that Rachel Zegler's an unattractive girl. But, you know, I feel like you could have casted such a better Snow White. Like they nailed it with Lily in Cinderella. I thought she was perfect Cinderella. Yeah, me. Exactly. That's what she is. This is a girl who knows that she has all this talent, and she lets it go right to her head. Having talent and being humble are two amazing things. Like okay, this is gonna be the most egotistical I get. All right, I feel like I'm a very talented singer, and I use that to entertain y'all. But I don't ever try to use the fact that I can sing as a way to put myself above anybody else other than Dickers, because I still just cannot wrap my head around what that guy's doing that I'm not. Sorry, Dickers, if you ever watch this. I really don't have a big issue with you. I'm so confused by that. Gypsy says, isn't she the person who said the prince was... Yes, that's who she said. Yeah, she's the one who said the prince was a stalker. Terrible takes. You are shitting on Walt Disney. The reason that Disney is because of Snow White. By the way, Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler cannot stand each other. This was probably the last time they talked together, because her being associated with Rachel Zegler running her mouth is pretty much got her guilty by association. And I think that hurt Gal Gadot's career too. So she tried to separate herself as much from Rachel Zegler as she could. Like, just keep, you can have your political beliefs, vote for who you want, but not everybody needs to be a fucking activist, right? I think that I've made my political opinions very clear on this channel without ever really having to be a political channel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
But guess what? If you watch the movie, she's saved by the prince twice. He took an arrow for her one time and then kissed to wake her up from the poison apple. And that, I think, is one of the big issues with this movie, is that you can tell the reshoots added a lot of those original
Mr.
Snow
T,
White
you're right.
elements back. The kiss,
She did.
the apple, even the fact that he's saving her all these times. And I think they did this in an attempt to make the movie more close.
Also, that haircut. I mean, I realize you're trying to make her look like the original, but that just does not work on Rachel Zegler. That haircut does, just let her have longer hair. I mean, Jesus. That haircut is terrible. Terrible.
Closely aligned with the source material. But I think at the end of the day, this is going to go down as one of the classic examples of go woke, go broke. And again, my top three are Bud Light.
Oh my God, Bud Light. Yeah, don't even get me started on that. Eastside Eddie says, we are living in a time where every time a man asks a woman to go out, he is labeled a predator. Yep, or a creeper, right? And being someone who is re-entering the dating world right now, I am terrified. You know, the difference between here's a quick lesson, right? The difference between a creep and a guy that people like is his looks. It's like it's like the difference between being handsome and not. If a guy that is considered unattractive goes up and asks a girl out, that guy's labeled a creep. But if the guy that asked the girl out is somewhat attractive, then that guy is not a creep. That guy is charming. That guy is welcome. You know what I'm saying? It's the only difference. Hey, Nancy. Good to see you.
That campaign with Dylan Mulvaney, go woke and absolutely go broke. Number 2 on that list is going to be the...
I don't know what the hell Bud Light was thinking. You know what it is? All right, there's this very small, there's a very small population of people that are incredibly loud on the far left. And people aren't trying to become their next target. Unless you are on the right, like... Because people on the right just do not give a shit, and they don't have to worry about being canceled by the left because they really, frankly, could care less. They know that you don't agree with anything you say. But look what's happening to Ethan Klein right now. That guy was on the left and fought for a lot of things that they believe in, and he is getting more harassed than any conservative ever has. Why? Because they know that the people who are more left-center are susceptible to being attacked because they know that the people in their own party aren't going to speak up against them. So they go at them with everything. They go full tilt. You go after a conservative guy, though, they're most likely going to be like, bring it on, bitch. You know what I'm saying? E.g., as someone who is separated at 40, it's weird at first, but it gets very easy. Yeah, Mr. T, and, you know, I'm only a couple birthdays away from 40, and, you know, you know, it's hard. It's hard right now because good to see you too, Nancy. It's hard right now because, you know, that's been my life for the past 2 years. We had just, you know, built a life together, and then it all just fell apart so fast. And, you know, I don't want to get into details, but it's just like, it's a big adjustment. But with that said, I am very excited to really throw my whole self into content creating and seeing what I can do. Because now I don't have to be a partner in a relationship. I just have to be dad. I just have to take time away to be dad. And as you can tell, she loves that I do this. My daughter loves it. So I think it's cool. You know, I think it's cool. And it'll be all right. It's all right. Thank you, Kangaloo. We'll be all right, guys. We will survive, okay? There will be another Miss Lately somewhere down the line. I don't know when because I'm not in any rush to start dating, but you know, I got to let this one sit, but, you know, and I just want to say I have nothing but the utmost respect for my former partner. I wish her everything that she deserves, and I hope she gets everything she deserves. And it's, you know, I don't have any ill will towards her. I love the woman dearly. Just sometimes people just have different priorities in life, and sometimes there's just hurdles that you can't overcome. Like we tried our absolute hardest to make it work. We cared about each other. We liked being around each other, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, all right, let's finish this up. Sorry, Rajira. You have so much to cut out of this. Or we could just leave up the stream. I don't know. We'll see.
Is Snow White. Snow White is another go woke, go broke horror show. And number 3 is Victoria's Secrets. They went woke and they went broke and got their sexy back. So a lot of these companies, I think, are into the let's make money. And going woke, unfortunately, doesn't make money. It does, though, in some instances. Like, I'll straight up say it. Wicked was woke, but it was fantastic.
You're right, Eddie.
Barbie was woke as hell. Fantastic.
No, that is a dirty lie, Carla. Stop. I do not want to date Rachel Zegler. I mean, first off, she would never have me, right? Because of I'm not, you know, I'm center right, so she would hate me just for the fact that I'm center right. You know, I'm too center for her. But she's not, you know, she's not really my type either. You know, I don't have a problem with Latina girls, but I don't know. I'm just like she's just, I don't know. I feel like she would be a thorn in my fucking side. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like, God forbid I come home and leave the pants on my floor like after a long day of work, she would snap. Even though we'd probably have a house cleaner because she's rich, but you know, I don't know, Rachel. If you see this and you want to go on a date, we could try it, see what happens. But I don't think that's gonna happen, though, guys. Can I ask an off-topic question since you brought up left and right? You sure can, Gypsy. Go ahead. This stream is basically. We try to focus on a topic, but we go left and right all the time because we're ADHD as. I heard that too, Carla. I can cut this. It's actually easier when I have 20 minutes at a time when you repeat your words. Yes, you're right, Rajira. That is true. Shit.
All right. Off to court. Fantastic. Barbie was woke as hell. Fantastic. But I think when it comes to Snow White and other things that are remakes of traditional media, then
the reason I think that Barbie did well was because, you know, it was funny. You know, you had good actors in it. Hey, Kim. Like, you had, like, Ryan Gosling is an incredible actor. And so is Margot Robbie. So you put them two in a movie, it's going to be funny, you know, because they both do comedy well.
You can only but make them but so woke, because again, the thing that makes Snow White popular is the fact that it's that old story. And if you don't give people what they're looking for, then why are they going to go watch it? I think that's the struggle with Snow White. People wanted to go see Snow White, and Rachel Zegler told them it's not Snow White. Nobody's going to go watch it. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. Say, hey, Nate, you're wrong about this. Snow White was great. I loved it. I'll just have to disagree with you. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm out.
Nate the Lawyer, guys. Give him the video a like. Good video. And I agree with the majority of things that he had to say. So,